tie back into The Color of Nothing because you were talking about how you
Right
worked
back
with
to
their creative director on that
yeah.
video, and that was stunning. It's a stunning song, and it's the title of the album, so that must mean something. You're an English major. You know that when you say the title, it's important. The title of the
Yeah,
book.
no. I think that I was thinking about this concept of, and you probably read this in, if you've read any of like the articles about the album, you know, I talk about this a lot, but I was thinking about this concept of like the idea of closing your eyes and like what you see when you close your eyes and you can't really describe it. And it's this like indescribable hue and it's all these colors. And I don't know why this idea of that was just sticking with me for so long, but I liked the way that it sounded. And I liked the idea of the album being sort of like that color of nothing and being that blank canvas where there's no preconceived ideas. It's just everything is stripped back and you can start fresh. And I think that's what I wanted it to be because, I mean, there was not a lot of buildup or anticipation, but there were people that had heard the first album and I guess they just expected something and I wanted to push my sound and I wanted to sort of bring it into a new space. So I think that's sort of what it meant to me personally, but it can mean, you know, something else to someone else. So.
Yeah. Well, I like
Yeah.
to hear that. I know that that is something that can get artists really tripped up in their head about this, like, okay, fans are expecting a certain type of sound, or,
Yeah.
oh, I've had a lot of success with this song, so maybe I need to make 7 more songs that sound kind of like
Yeah.
that. And that can be a dangerous trap, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking from an outsider's perspective.
No, you're totally right. I think that that's a huge thing and it's something that I deal with a lot of like battling like where I want to push my sound, I guess. But I think what I've kind of come to, like the conclusion that I've come to is that as long as the music I'm making is satisfying to me and I'm happy with it, I think that is what matters the most to me because at the end of the day, like if it's not fulfilling to me, then I'm not going to enjoy making the music and I'm not going to feel authentically about, like I'm not going to be as passionate about the music. So I think that's the place that I try to come from. And I try to keep that in mind every time I go in to make something new is like, all right, I'm not going to worry about trying to make this sound like something I've done before. I just want to make whatever I want to make and just see how it comes out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Wise.
Hopefully people like it up until now. I don't know.
I mean, people seem to. It seems to be going well. Yeah. When did you start working on this group of songs? Did you go into it thinking you wanted to make an album? Do you see yourself as an album artist? Because you're 21 and you've already got 2 albums, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go much into it, but I'm already like ready to go into album 3. That's kind of where my head's at right now. So
Fuck yeah.
Anyone who's watching this can know that that's where my head's at. But I think that I've talked about this before, but the previous album I did it in high school, it was kind of just really convenient how all the songs came together. I was writing them over the course of like 2 years and they just kind of conveniently fit in this cohesive package that I wanted to put out when Foreign Family hit me up. And I think that I really enjoyed putting that together. But with this album, I definitely wanted to go into it, you know, and build this narrative out from the beginning and sort of like build an album that had structure and continuity and I had a flow throughout the track list. I wanted to make something that felt even more so cohesive, I guess. So that's where I wanted to go with that. And I want to keep pushing that idea, I think, with my future projects, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. See, that's why you were an English major, because you're a storyteller. Whether you're doing it in words or music, it's all storytelling.
That's exactly right. You're right.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I'm glad to hear you say that because I know that a lot of artists these days are very single driven, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I myself am a fan of a cohesive album project, so it's cool that you're running with that theme.
I just think there's something like uniquely fulfilling about an album, like a full album. I love doing EPs and I love doing like a beat tape or something like that, but a full album is just like so fulfilling to do front to back. And it's a grueling experience and This past one it kicked my butt, and I was not. I think it really taught me a lot, which is a huge part of the whole process, is that you come out the other side a better musician, which is a huge thing. So,
yeah. What's one takeaway from the making of The Color of Nothing that you didn't have before you started?
I think that one thing that I did differently with this album, or at least that I felt like I did differently, was that there were a lot of songs on the album that I started writing, and I thought they were going to, be wrapped up really quickly, because that's how my writing process was initially. Was I'd write a lot of my songs over the course of like 1 to 2 days, and I just get it completely done. Wow. And I wasn't big on like sitting on the song and like wanting to like keep, just because I think in high school especially I had that attention deficit, and so I'd work on something and then I'd be like, all right, on to the next idea, work on something, on to the next idea. And I think this album taught me the importance of coming back to ideas that you might have started a long time ago, and then really like saying, okay, I'm going to dig my feet in and I'm just going to really work on this right now and make it something completely different. The Color of Nothing, the title track, I think that was one of the first songs that I started for the album writing process. And then I didn't touch it for a long time because I couldn't get the piano to sound right. That was like the biggest thing I remember, was I couldn't get the character and the tone of the piano to sound how I wanted it to sound, and it just wasn't fitting. And it took me probably 2 years, but eventually I finally got it to that point where I was like, this is how I wanted this song to sound when I started making it. And I think that was a huge lesson for me. So
yeah, well, worth the extra effort to get it
worth the effort
where you want it.
Definitely.
And Yumster27 was like, no way, Ford is here. I'm so late, but I'm so happy to be here right now. And we're happy that you're here, Yumster27. You totally froze, and it's fine because I can still hear you.
I froze? Is everyone just looking at me in a really like awkward?
I would say you're making a fine face. It could be way worse than it is.
If I turn my video off and turn it back on.
Yeah, give it a try. There it is. Perfect. Now you're great. I don't know. It's like right when you started answering that question, it just totally froze. But like I said,
I think I just started talking too fast and then it just couldn't handle it. So